Hey, welcome. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? I think it's Wednesday. My days sort of bleed together and we are live here. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to share this out, and do me a favor, share this out as well. This is an important topic that we are going to be discussing today, which is around anger and rage and our expression of it. And what the perception is around how we are allowed or not allowed to feel and to express our anger and our rage as people of color and as Black people in particular. And this actually came in from inspiration from a podcast I was listening to, which was Layla Saad's podcast, I believe it's the Wild Mystic Woman podcast. And she was talking to Alexis Morgan, who was her guest, and something that Alexis said about, or they were talking about her rage writing. And it just really struck me. I was like, oh, this is important. This is important. I have to talk about this. So give me 1 second so that I can share this out. And do me a favor, share this out as well so that other people can come in and join the conversation, even if they're coming in after. Or they're coming in on the replay, like they catch it on the replay. That's totally fine, because like I said, this is going to stay up, and this is an important, it's an important topic and an important discussion. So before we dive in, let me introduce myself. My name is Kristen Iris. I am a creativity mentor and a speaker, and I help creatives of color, Black and brown creatives, to uncover and dismantle the old oppressive conditionings and beliefs that are still deeply ingrained, still holding them back, and create a paradigm shift in their creative work and in their lives, because that kind of change is going to affect all areas of your life, really. And so on that subject, I'm really fascinated today with the idea about Black rage and Black anger, and the way our rage is perceived, and the narrative around our rage, and how that feeds into our expression of it. Okay, so an easy way to start with this, for example, is the angry Black woman, right? So the angry Black woman, the idea that that Black women are angry, that anytime we express anything or a dislike, or we bring a light to something, that, oh, well, she's just an angry Black woman. And it's used as a way to dismiss us. It's used as a way to dismiss our voices, to dismiss our experiences, and to dismiss the power of what we actually have to say and what we're bringing to the table, which is a shame and frustrating and enraging, to be honest. But what that does, and this is just one example, what that does is that it tends to, and I see this as a Black woman and as someone who has talked to other Black women about this, it puts us in a position of feeling like, okay, well, I can't express this, or I have to soften it, or I have to make it more palatable, or I can't talk about this subject at all because I'm going to be perceived this way. And once I'm perceived that way, people aren't going to listen. Right? So I'm trying to make a connection here between the way that society has put a narrative around our anger and how that changes our actual expression of ourselves and our experiences and our voices. And this is something that is not only in how we interact with other people, and how we interact in society, and how we engage in relationships and in conversation online and offline. This affects our creative work as well. So if you're creative, this can affect your work. It can affect the way, like if you're writing something, and it can affect the way you write, the way you put the words on the page. It can affect how much you put on the page. Same thing with other forms of expression, with dance, with videos, with painting. It can change the things that you choose to creatively make and put out in the world. And that is something that needs to change. And that's why I wanted to open up this conversation, because this bullshit narrative around our rage and our anger is actually stifling our voices. It's stifling our creativity. It's stifling the way that we are able to engage in relationships, engage in society, and the way that we are able to call out racism and call out injustices. think about it like, if you've ever seen it, and I have seen this, that like when people of color or women of color call out injustices or call someone in to be like, hey, this is problematic, that immediately there's often a tone policing. Well, if you weren't so angry, or if you said it in a different way, I don't need to say it in a different way. Why is it that I need to express my anger? And I'm not advocating for like violence or really like unproductive or destructive expressions of anger, but like, why is it that if I'm angry, I have to babysit you through your own harm that you've done to me? I shouldn't have to do that, okay? Or if I'm expressing in my creative work, why is it that I have to now adjust the way that I'm expressing myself or what I'm creating because it's not going to be received a certain way? It is a really hard balance, because we do know, like, we are very aware that the way we express things, even if we're not in like an enraged state, will be perceived a certain way. That it can be perceived a certain way. And that perception will immediately shut people down from seeing the validity of what we're saying, from seeing the truth of what we're expressing, from seeing the power of what we're expressing. Automatically, they're like, oh, this person's angry. This person just hates the world. This person's just X, Y, and Z, insert narrative here. And the problem with this is that aside from it shutting down our voices, is that it is policing the way we are able to express love as well. Because Black rage, Black anger is Black love. The reason we are angry, the reason we are enraged is because we have a deep love for ourselves, for our people, for our culture, for our ancestors who had horrendous atrocities done to them. And from the survivors of those experiences are now us. Like, now we are here. We're allowed to be angry. We're allowed to be enraged. And that expression and that feeling of rage is connected to that deep love that we have for our Blackness and for our ancestors and for our experiences and for our brothers and sisters. And so when we are being told that we are not allowed to express, that we can't feel rage, if you feel anger, you're not being enlightened enough or whatever, that is a way of shutting us down in our own expression of love for each other, for our Blackness. And that is where I'm like, we need to change this, and we need to start really stepping up and owning our anger, owning our rage, and owning our right to express it, both in creative ways and in, just in engaging with other people. We have that right. And think about it, whatever race, whatever like race or culture you come from, think about when you're angry. Like, think about if something happens to a friend or a loved one and you're angry about it. Why are you angry? You're angry because you love. You're angry because you love so much and this person has been hurt and you feel for them. It is the same thing for us. We are allowed to have that love and to have that rage. And the rage and the anger is not a bad thing, and it is constantly vilified. It is constantly seen as a danger. It is constantly seen as a way to invalidate us, but also as a way to spin the image of who Black people are. Black men, their anger, it's constantly put in this light of, this is dangerous, they're criminals. Oh no, he's angry. We have to shoot him because he's gonna hurt us. That's the narrative around it. Black men are vilified for expressing their anger, for feeling anger. They're not allowed to. Black women are vilified for being angry, angry Black woman, and it's used to invalidate us. And all of that shuts down our voices, shuts down our expression of our creativity, and it shuts down like our ability to really connect with other people. Not completely shuts it down, you know what I mean? We could still in other ways connect, but like it shuts down one of those avenues. Our expression of anger and rage, we need to make space for that. And it can be hard because you know what the perception is going to be. You may know how people are going to, that some people may want to shut you down. And instead of letting that hold us back, we need to let that be the catalyst for why we are stepping up, why we are creating this change, why we are expressing our rage and our love through our words, through our creative work, through our whatever other healthy and productive ways that we can do that. Because the more we do and the more we validate each other's expression of anger and creative expression of it and each other's voices, the more the rest of the world around us will have to as well. Like, the more that we make space for that and hold space for each other to do that, the more the rest of the world is going to start waking up, and they're going to have to start paying attention. The more we call out the way that our anger getting shut down is actually an act of racism and it is an act of harm against us, the more people are going to have to recognize that. Yes, there's going to be some battle. There's going to be some fight with it. Of course, just like everything else that we do, there's a little bit of a battle with it. But the more we do it, and the more we make that space, and the more we actively step up into that, the more power we actually have in expressing our love and expressing our expressing of ourselves. Think about it. If you're shutting down your anger, anger is a huge, like, if you, first of all, everybody feels anger in some way at some point. Everybody, it's one of the emotions that everybody feels, just like everybody feels fear. Okay. So if you are not allowing yourself to even express your anger, you are not allowing yourself to feel your anger, you are actually cutting yourself off from a part of you. And when you cut yourself off from a part of you, you are stifling your creativity, you are stifling your ability to show up fully in relationships, you are stifling your ability to show up fully in the world. When you embrace and embody the wholeness of who you are, that includes the part of you that is angry, that includes the part of you that is creative, that includes the part of you that is love, that includes the part of you that is joy. When you embrace the wholeness of who you are and create from that place, you get to bring more of yourself into the world. You get to express more of yourself. You get to embody more of yourself, and you get to be more in your power. And that power leads to more expression and more change in the world around you, in the people who interact with you, because they feel it. They feel it. And some people, it'll make them uncomfortable. They'll be like, "Ooh, I want to shut you down." And some people are going to be like, "Oh my God, I can be in all of who I am too. I can express my anger too. I can express my love too. I can express my creativity too." And this is how we create ripple effects that start changing the world around us. Right? This is how our creative work starts to make change in the world around us. This is how our rage and our love starts to make change in the world around us. And this is why it is so powerful. This is exactly why I work with creatives of color and Black and brown creatives specifically, because we have unique experiences that are constantly being shut down, just like the way we're told that we're not allowed to express our rage, we're not allowed to feel our rage or feel anger. We have experiences and powerful voices that are constantly being shut down that need to be expressed, and they need to be put in the world, because that is where change happens. So let me know what you are getting from this. Let me know how this is resonating with you. If you're watching on the replay, put a comment down. Let me know. And do me a favor, share this out. This is a powerful discussion, a powerful topic. I'm really loving this this idea and this balance, like I said, between the desire to express and to be seen and be heard, and the knowledge that when we express this part of ourselves, that there are people who will shut us down. And to express anyway, and to not justify, to not defend, to not owe anyone an explanation. These are hard, but these are things that I'm playing with too. You know, like when I think about how I express, you know, like when I'm angry or when something bothers me, or I want to say something about race or racism, the way that I say it or the concern that comes up, well, how can I put this in a way where I can minimize the pushback? One, that's for my own safety, my own mental protection, but also because I'm like, How am I going to be labeled? Who's going to try to shut me down? Is this going to even be received, or are people going to just be like, oh, whatever, she's just an angry Black woman? And it does change the way I express. And so this is something that I am playing with too, which is why I want to, invite you all into this exploration. So if you are a person of color, is to explore, like, how is it that I express or experience my anger? How is my anger connected to love? And how do I let my anger and my rage be shut down by the greater world around me that doesn't want to hear me? Like, what are my ideas around that? And if you're not a person of color, a good question asked is like, how is it that I perceive other people's anger? How do I perceive when a Black woman is talking about, an experience or her experience in racism or with color? How do I feel when a Black man is expressing his anger? Versus how do I feel when a white person or an Asian person or this person, like, what are my own perceptions? Because you have to look at your own biases before you can start breaking them down. And everybody needs to do that. It's like, what are my perceptions? How does my perception change when a different person is expressing their anger? When a different person is expressing their joy? When a different person is expressing their love? Is to look at that, really examine that, and get really fucking honest with yourself about how you are receiving those things and how you respond to them. Because that's when you are aware of your own biases, that's where you can start making change. And I guess that's across the board, but that was a specific call to action for for white people who are watching this. And then for people of color, it's like, really look at, like, how do I allow myself to express anger? What are my perceptions around my expression of anger and how people will perceive me? How does that change how I show up creatively and how I show up in the world? So these are powerful questions and inquiries to make for yourself, and very important for creatives and for creative people and artists. And if you're not an artist, but you feel like you're a creative person in some other avenue, some other arena, I like to call it an arena, then it's still a good question, because it's going to change how you show up in that arena. So thank you guys so much for watching. Do me a favor, subscribe to this channel so you get more live streams and videos. I do post other videos for creatives to inspire and get you to laugh and incite you into action. And then you can hit the bell as well, and that way you'll get notifications when I post something new. And leave a comment. Let me know what you're getting from this. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings, your experience with expressing anger. I really, really want to hear. Like, let this be a place, let the comments be a place where you can voice, like if you are a person of color, a creative of color, where you can voice your anger and your experience in expressing that anger. Let this be a place to be seen and to be heard. Share this out, and let's see if you are, to help you actually explore this a little more, really quick, I have a free video and workbook guide called Unblock Your Dream Life, which you can actually use to unblock your perceptions around anger, or unblock a creative project, unblock some other avenue. It doesn't just have to be your big dream life. But you can get that at kristeniris.com/unblock. And it's something you can use over and over for different endeavors, different projects, different areas of your life where you're feeling stuck or frustrated, or you have a block, or you have a dialogue that's coming up, and you feel like you're not fully expressing yourself. Hello, thanks for watching. We're at the end of the broadcast, the live stream, but thank you for hopping on, and let me know what your thoughts are on this subject. And yes, like I said, kristeniris.com/unblock, go get it. You can use it to break down these some of these ideas that, like, I've even talked about, these ideas and perceptions around anger and around your ability, like how you are allowed to express anger and step into a fuller expression of yourself. So yes, hop on next time. I will be back on tomorrow. And again, share this out. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on the replay, thanks for watching on the replay. And I will see you guys next time.